So you're still in those lower vibrational feelings of resentment and hurt and pain because I'm not supposed to believe what they did to you, right? Oh, you can't believe what they did. How can I ever forgive them? Yet you want to let go of that pain, right? I mean, that's why you're here watching this video. Because in this video, I am going to go ahead and show you how to let go and forgive and what the true meaning of forgiving means. So keep this in mind throughout the video, that things only have the meaning which you give them. Only what you believe to be true about your reality is what's going to be true, because that's the meaning which you give it. And you will think, feel, and act upon that meaning, that belief that becomes subconscious and runs your daily life. So if you want to let go of this past pain so that way you can be free, you can stop hurting and probably stop attracting similar people. And why would you be attracting similar people? Because they're familiar. So join me. Let's get it. In order to forgive, the biggest realization that we can have about other humans here on our planet is that a lot of times we're not acting from the highest level of consciousness that we could be. That's why even when you make mistakes, or even when I have in the past, I look back and I'm like, kind of cringe, right? It's that cringe feeling. Why? Because we realize we've grown past that. Because whatever event or thing that we added to on our own, we now realize that we played a role in that and we didn't like our behavior. And at the moment, though, we weren't very consciously aware of our actions or even reactions to someone else. It's not our fault. And it's not anybody's fault when they don't have conscious awareness to it. Now, it doesn't ever make anything that anybody has ever done that's bad to you right. Doesn't make any of that right. Or any bad things they've ever done. Just doesn't make it right. However, this does give you the opportunity to forgive it and give it a new meaning. To forgive. So you give it a new meaning, and a lot of the times is coming from that realization that we get that opportunity to grow. And don't worry about if they're ever going to figure it out, because I know that we never really actually seek revenge, and we never really want karma to ever actually get someone back. Because even just thinking that's implying that you want something bad to happen to someone. And what do you think karma is going to do to you? It's going to give you a reflection of the energy you're putting out. Karma is just a synchronicity. It's to show you the reflection of who you are being. We never seek revenge. We only ever want people to know how we felt. And I've been there. And it's never this revenge thing. We just want them to know how they made us feel in the moment. And when we start to take our power back and empower ourselves, we start to realize that nobody can make us feel any way that we don't want to feel. When you get to the place of self-mastery, vibrational mastery, of unconditional love, unconditional happiness without the condition you need to change, you can stay in that vibration which you prefer to stay in. Your vibration is your feelings. You get to choose how you feel at any given moment. And that's what it means to raise your vibration. And the only way you can really understand what unconditional love is, because we all naturally want love. Everybody is out here looking for their lover. Everybody wants love in some kind of way, including myself. Right? So through reaching and feeling all these contrasting types of emotions, it brings us up the scale to realize that there is light. Right? And one of the biggest things to realize is that light at the end of the tunnel that you may be feeling or seeking, that's actually part of the source of your problems. Like, it's not just all the darkness and experiences that you have, all these contrasting events. And that's why it's contrast, because on the other end, there's this light, and the light is showing you a better place. The grass is much greener. And due to that, you now experience the darkness as this horrible thing. Because imagine without the light and everything was just all darkness and it was all bad, well, would it really be that bad? If it was all the same amount of bad, it's like Stockholm syndrome, right? You like start to believe in your pain, start to believe it's normal. So that light is shining an opportunity of somewhere that's better. And through that, that's when we get to start making decisions to shift. Now, people who are like narcissistic or they do bad things to people, like, yeah, there's like the disorder part of it. A lot of times people have narcissistic traits, and that doesn't mean that they're a full-on narcissist. Even narcissists have worthiness wounds. That's why they have to manipulate others to get their needs met. That's why they have to constantly keep other energy sources going to get their needs met. And I dated a covert narcissist. And me being an empath people pleaser, they love that. Because they know as a people pleaser, they can suck us dry. Because we'll never be told that we're enough. We'll get breadcrumbs and we'll never get the full loaf. Even though they'll make us feel like those breadcrumbs are the full loaf. Or is the full loaf. So, and it's not like they're bad people. It's just the only way they know how to survive and get their needs met. In the same way as a people pleaser having a worthiness wound, me doing things for people, well, not a people pleaser anymore, right? Because I've come to these awarenesses. Me doing things for people out of being nice is, well, thinking in return like, well, they're going to like me. I'm going to get their validation and approval. They're going to say thank you, their praise. And most importantly, in the back of my mind, which I had out awareness to, was maybe one day they'll return the favor and an expectation, which is also manipulative. So the two things that empaths, people pleasers, and narcissists all have in common is, well, they have a worthiness wound. And they're both manipulating people. Those are the two things they have in common. Manipulating people to get their needs met in some kind of way, versus being strong enough in their own frame and being able to express these things. And saying, hey, I feel this way when you do this. Or, hey, can I have this? Can you do this for me? Like, just like not having to manipulate people and put like a string attached or put a carrot on a stick. And, you know, I had these friends a while back, and they've been engaged for like 9 years. And I didn't realize it, but their relationship dynamic was not good. And there was a lot of control and manipulation, a lot of worthiness on both ends. One of them was for sure manipulating things to get their needs met. And it was not healthy. And then when I finally, you know, was no longer friends with them, I realized, oh my gosh, their relationship is just not healthy at all. And I could never help them because I never knew, like, and I just thought they knew more. They were older than me. So I never could give them my advice, or I never felt like it, right? Anyway, now, I know we went down this rabbit hole here with narcissists and stuff. My point is like nobody wakes up in the day, or wakes up when they do in the night, whatever, thinking, how can I manipulate people today? How can I manipulate people and get my needs met? Nobody thinks about that. It's an instinct. It's a subconscious thing. It's not their fault. Through their own trauma and pain and suffering. Because even the covert narcissist that I dated, she had a lot of pain and suffering in her life. And I never heard the end of the sob stories. You know, she always played victim. And every single relationship that she had too, it was insane. And me, being a people-pleasing empath and someone who's very loving and nurturing, a lot of my divine feminine energy, I also, fed into that and I played into this hero role. But again, it's just how they survive through their pain and trauma. And until they look at within that and then heal it, then they can shift. Then they'll also look back and cringe. So do you get how it's not exactly other people's faults now? Because they're not acting from a level of consciousness, awareness to it. Yeah, some people are genuinely thinking how to get their needs met. What can I do? And narcissistic people will do this. They'll think and overthink of situations and they'll plot things in their head to get their needs met because they don't believe they're worthy enough on their own, because they haven't done the inner work to clear those blocks and just be okay and not need anything from anybody else. Even fear of abandonment. That's why they need to manipulate people to keep them in their lives, treat them like crap. So that way they'll stick around and they'll never feel like they're enough, especially people pleasers. And then the people pleaser gets in that endless hero loop cycle and they just keep giving and giving and giving. Again, it's because that person that's manipulating that way has been hurt. So if you can look at everybody as only acting at the highest level of consciousness that they're at, because once you start healing these things, you cringe again, and you start wanting to make these shifts, and then you look back at the things you've done, and it hurts to realize that. And when I was 19 and had this girlfriend for 2.5 years, I think we broke up when I was like 21. She was the biggest blessing and lesson I've ever had in my life. And, our relationship wasn't very healthy because I didn't know how to express my feelings. I don't really know if she did either. There was a lot of physical attraction that kept us stuck in there. And like, we just couldn't clear things out. And back then, I was really young and I had almost these kind of narcissistic behaviors and manipulations that I had to look back at and cringe because I couldn't express my feelings and say my needs. Instead, I would create situations like break up with her. And because I did want to break up with her, she did lie to me about some stuff and I just couldn't handle it, except my need to not be alone was too strong. So we would always get back together. She'd be blowing me up, texting me. It was not healthy. And, I would eventually get back together because I'm like, F it, I don't want to be alone. I do love her. I really did do my best. And so did she. Like, we did do our best to the highest level of consciousness that we were at. Except I look back at some of the ways I've said things and worded things and done things like breaking up. And then because I wanted it to end, and this is the part that cringes, and I'll get vulnerable here, is that, and I don't do this anymore, and I never will, because I've looked within the shadow. And, I'd break up with her and automatically meet up with another woman and, have intercourse with them. And thinking that, well, now that I've done this, she won't want me back, and now we can end our relationship. That's never how it went. She would come to me. Or I would go to her, and we would, after like a week or so, and we would just get back together. So, and I always told her these things too, thinking that this would be finally it and she won't take me back. I did that so I could get out of the relationship because I couldn't handle the lies. Like, I didn't know how to heal. I didn't know how to forgive her. There was like one time she told me she was going to be with her like friend or whatever, but then, and then I ended up finding out she's at a party and she lied to me about it. And that was the first issue we had. And that really hurt. Because like, our relationship was going really good in the beginning. Like, we were having all this good stuff. And then after that pain and suffering that I felt, and then she lied again another time, and then I just couldn't trust her anymore. And I kept trying to trust her. And it wasn't her fault. She just, it was probably my fault too, because I was a little more controlling and I wanted her to have a better life because like at the time she hadn't finished high school and stuff. So like, I wanted her to like be good in her life and like yeah, it kind of came with some like daddy vibes and controlling vibes at the beginning. You know, always paying for stuff. So I had a good high paying job. And again, it's nobody else's fault. It's nobody's fault. We didn't know better. We didn't know how to love each other the way we deserve to be loved. We did our best to the best of our ability from probably what we learned from our parents. And I had to heal that. Because one time I actually, it was like a year or two after we broke up, and I was like in this healing journey. I was in this bettering myself place. And I actually became a people pleaser through that because I realized we're not getting back together this time. And I had a huge worthiness wound. I felt unworthy of that love and that relationship of her. And, you know, as I was healing and I, you know, stopped partying and stuff, and I was going to school, and I think I was going for my business associates. Well, actually, I was getting dual credits because I didn't finish high school either. I just went straight to work and kind of dropped out. And I ended up getting a really good job and working up the ladder and whatnot. And then, you know, it was time for me to want a high school diploma because I felt like I'll never be promoted to vice president in my company because, like, I didn't have a high school diploma. And I didn't think sales were enough to cut it. Either way, though, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. I one day just sat in my bed and, well, I tell you this, and I don't think just saying it is going to comprehend the experience I went through. It felt kind of like a Kundalini awakening almost, except my whole, like, I just started bawling and crying and looking at all the times I treated her not in the best way because I had evolved, right? All the times I looked back and cringed, I cried so hard that I couldn't breathe. Like, I literally was gasping for air because I was just letting out all these tears and all this pain. And I just realized, like, I felt like I really hurt her. And I never wanted that. I never wanted it to be that way. And, like, I was just gasping for air and I was all alone. I thought I was going to die. Like, I reached a point where, like, I hadn't took a breath for a while that, like, I almost forgot how to breathe. And I had to release all that, though. I had to realize, like, I never want to be like that again. So I set out on a self-help journey, self-improvement, self-growth. And, you know, through that, though, I just kept giving to people so much that I became a people pleaser, like I mentioned. And I ended up burning out because I didn't have boundaries anymore. I didn't know how to set boundaries. And it's funny, like, even dating the covert narcissist woman who was, you know, 6 years older than me, she had a lot of the same traits. And I knew them and I watched them. And it's like, I just kept going for them. Like that I, you know, some of the same wordings and stuff, like, and I knew it was probably not healthy, like, ugh. And I still went for it, like, I'm just going to trust and do my best and be happy, loving, and all that. So I lost how to set boundaries. And part of dating these types of people is for you to learn how to set boundaries. So forgiveness is giving it a new meaning it's time for you to learn how to set boundaries. That's probably the lesson why somebody comes into your life, so that way you can start to express how you feel. You change the meaning and you start showing gratitude for the experience. This is how you actually heal and move on. I know I went down this like 16-minute rabbit hole here of my own journey. And yeah, I am a little, you know, I am ashamed of my past, except I had to start accepting that. It's part of the process. I had to forgive myself too. It's not about just forgiving others. It's about forgiving yourself. And, you know, if you ever watch this video, that girlfriend I'm talking about, I'm so grateful for you. You were such a blessing, and I appreciate you. If you ever stumble upon this video, thank you so much, with so much gratitude. I thank you for ever coming into my life. I'm glad we had the experience that we did. And I'm sorry you did not get the best version of me. I hope you're doing well and amazing. Ooh, man, I'll start crying here. Anyway, this is how you forgive. You change the meaning. You forgive yourself. You forgive others because they weren't acting at the highest level of consciousness that they were at. They didn't know better. Their conscious awareness wasn't on themselves. And when you reach those conscious higher density awareness places, you genuinely want the best for people. That's what unconditional means. You set your very conditional boundaries and you can never have to see that person again, yet you still want the best for them, even doesn't matter how wrong they did you. You want them to be good. Because everybody deserves to be happy, and nobody deserves to be ashamed for their whole freaking life for the stuff that they did when they become a new person and they're choosing to shift and they want to better themselves. I will give you this last thing. It is Ho'oponopono. This is the greatest healing modality because it heals your energy and it heals their energy at the same time, because we're all the universe experiencing itself. They say God is omnipresent, source is omnipresent, the universe, all that is, which you're a part of. If God, source, energy, creator is everywhere and they're omnipresent at all times, it's not, hey, God is over there. God is over there. God is also you. Source is also you. You are also the divine. You're a part of all that is. So you can't put that outside of yourself. So when you use Ho'oponopono, and this is how I've evolved the modality to myself from my understanding of it, is I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. You can repeat these 4 words over and over and give them this meaning. I'm sorry. When you say I'm sorry, it's I'm sorry for the energy that I had in my energetic magnetic bubble, from my past pain, familiar traumas, and everything else, that I attracted you into my life based off of what was I had experienced in my life and who I was at the time. So I'm sorry. And this goes both ways. As you say it to them, they say it back to you, because here's your human, right? Here's their human. You're all connected to like a soul. Eventually it just, goes up and teeter-totters all the way to the source energy. Like you're all the same being. So you do this and you actually shift to a reality, parallel reality, as you heal this energy, where you're both in a much higher vibratory state. Now, so I'm sorry for attracting you based on what's in my energetic magnetic bubble. Please forgive me. Take this, and I hope you can change the meaning. Please forgive me for this. And you get to forgive yourself too in the process for bringing this energy into there. Thank you. Thank you for forgiving me. Thank you for all the experience. I am grateful for it. Even if they did you so wrong, you now learned a contrasting event. You now know what you prefer more of in your life. And maybe they showed you how to set healthy boundaries. Maybe that was your lesson you got to learn from dating a narcissistic person, right? So thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for putting me on this healing journey. And I love you. I unconditionally love you. I want the best for you. I love you for giving me this experience. I hope everything works out for you as well. So I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. If you can figure this out, you can heal all of your resentment, your pain, your trauma, and realize we're all doing our best to the best of our ability at any given moment. So you get to choose if you want to shift and get better. Be better, not bitter. And don't wish for things to get easier in your life. Don't wish for your relationships to get easier, for better people to come in your life. You wish that you were better. Wish for you to be better, not for things to get easier. Because in life, it's always going to be new levels, same freaking devils. All right. So like, as you get better, these new levels, they get easier. Because life is a spiral. It just consciously keeps expanding eternally. So, have fun with it. So have a wonderful, magnificent, transformative, alchemizing day. Let me know how I helped you in the comments below. Bye.